G'day everyone, I thought I'd do a bit of video about tripods. You see them quite a bit in the Spark 22 series and then a little bit in PRS and other competitions around the place. They're not as used every day in the shooting aspects of things now. A lot of the time they're just used for spotting duties or the like, but they still do appear in competitions. And so I'll just talk about a few of the sort of differences between the couple of models that I have. So we've got these both Leofoto options. I'm sponsored by Leofoto New Zealand, so it may only make sense that that's what I've got. Just a quick note, you'll notice on both of the models they have these stainless steel feet extensions. Those aren't a Leofoto product, I just made those. They're essentially weights, so they sit on the ground without falling over as easy, but I can touch on that later. As I said, we've got a 4-section and a 2-section, and we'll just sort of go over a few of the reasons why I'd choose one over the other, depending what I'm doing. Where the 4-section, which is probably the most common, you'll see, comes in real handy, more so for me is in the hunting side of things. We shoot a lot of sort of backcountry stations, a lot of steep uphill, downhill shots, and depending where you are, if you're down in the valleys, taking those high angle shots, sort of 30, 35 plus degrees, these come in real handy. Now, I hunt from usually a side-by-side or a motorcycle, so I'm generally not walking more than a few Ks, if that, so it's not a big deal for me to have one of these in the pack. Obviously there are lighter options. So yeah, the 4-section, where it comes in handy, obviously you can do your real quick deploy, plop that down, sitting position, but then you've got all the options, as per most tripods now. You can fold the legs out to different angles and set it up to suit the terrain you're on. And these 4 sections really come in handy for that. Being able to sort of set it and do whatever you want. And these have the nice half turn legs, so they're real quick, just turn, deploy, lock, and then same for doing it. So you've got sort of, I don't know if modularity is the right word, but a few more options with the 4-leg, just to suit the terrain you're on. I also find if the competition has, if I'm shooting competition, and I have to deploy the tripod under the clock into, like I say, a low sitting or low kneeling position, as I did before, I can just pop them out like this. Now this isn't the most stable position, being that it's hasn't got a very wide footprint, but I can really quickly pop it out and I've got a sitting position. And the same can be said for hunting. If you've got to take a real hasty shot and you're in some long grass, there's no option to go prone, plonk it down like that and off you go. Obviously this has a table on it, so this just arches on. This is actually, funnily enough, a Leofoto product. Their little tack table folds up, it's got an arc rail along the bottom, and you think, why does it fold? Well, when these are strapped to your backpack, the table smacks you in the head, so having it able to fold up is quite a nice option, so it doesn't, when it's on your backpack, it doesn't smack you around. These obviously have the saw head on them, which is the ball head. That just has this really nice lever, so even if you got your rifle on, you just slowly do that. It's got a big coarse thread on it, and it does it up super solid. Or you can have it sort of so it'll just move with a bit of resistance. Really handy. They've both got the same ball head on them. Some of our older tripods we had, sort of no-name ones, no brand rather, they had like a handle under here you'd twist, but they were very limited in what you could do with them. Okay, so that's your 4-leg, and then over here we've got the 2-leg one, which has a rifle on it. So this, pretty well the same thing, except it's much bigger. So at its most collapsed, it's about 1200 longish. So it's not small. You're not going to be moving this around as much as you would the smaller one if you were packing it into where you're going, or having to competition involve climbing some big hills. This is much more sort of, has a couple of jobs only. As you can see, these are the feet as well, in case you're curious. They're just threaded feet that replicate. They have essentially that on the other side, and they just weight. So same thing, same head, but it's only 2 legs, so half turn, put that out, you got a super tall tripod option. So where these come really in handy is if you're shooting tripod rear. We don't do a lot of it, but if you do, if you've got a wobbly prop, you can set it up. It's nice and big out of the way. And if you are shooting tripod rear, not that I have a prop here, say it was on a prop, and I could lock it in with my, obviously I'd use this hand and use tripod rear. So there's one option for it. And then obviously PRS rules, you can start with the gear deployed how you want, just has to be in hand, so you can start with it just how you want it. And then if you did, like say Spark series, where tripods, if they use the deployed under the clock, being that it's a 2-section leg, if you did want to shoot tripod rear from a standing position, it'd be very, very quick to deploy, and then you could do it. So there's the advantage of the 2-leg, in my opinion, is that tripod rear, or if it's purely in use for spotting, so a bino's either sitting on a gamer plate or clipped directly into the arc mount, or a spotting scope clipped directly into the arc mount, then I prefer the bigger, heavier tripod. It's less likely to move around in the wind and the like, and you can have a bit of an easier time with it. Same thing, just clips in, nice ball head. Yeah, so that's where I like it. I'm not as big a fan of this one if I'm in more field conditions and stuff like that. So this is more a PRS suited rather than a field shooting suited tripod, if that makes sense. Big, heavy, massive amount of weight can be hung off it. I don't know the specs, look them up. I'm not a salesman. But yeah, and then obviously you've also got the options for the legs. So you can put it out wide and long and whatever you want. And it's just the same as that, essentially, but with different legs. Now, a couple of things I'll mention. You can take these heads out if you want. You just undo this screw here, pop that out. So you can get different heads as well. So if you might buy one with a more basic head, and then you'll upgrade over time. That's fine. That pops in. You just do that little screw. Just here, it's got a little push pull, and then you can also attach slings to these. I have a sling. It's a QD for a sling, and I've also got a little leg attachment if I do want to sling this up and carry it around. So that makes that pretty easy. And then actually something to notice about these heads too. They're, I don't know if you can see it in there. They take Picatinny and Arca. So the bottom section, that'll fit a pick groove. It's sort of picks going out of favour big time. It's Arca's the new standard, but if you do have pick right under your forearm, or on the bottom of a spotting scope or whatever, it'll clip straight in there. And then the top half is Arca. Nice and simple. You got a half full setting, and then obviously you can adjust the tension just with the little knob there. Real simple, real quick. The ribbon, that's just off one of my daughter's dresses. That's just for wind. It's just a little bit of an aid on direction. Yeah, that's about all I've got to say about them. I've been running these ones for a couple years with no trouble. Every once in a blue moon, if they get particularly wet and dusty, I'll pull the leg apart and put a little bit of silicone grease on the little rubber bit that goes through there. That's just preventative. No real issue there. Obviously there's spiked feet available for them, all tripods, but there's a bunch of little accessories. You can there's even an umbrella holder, which I have been meaning to get for some of the wetter matches. But yeah, so if you want them, check them out, Leofoto NZ or Guns NZ. But yeah, just some thoughts if you are looking at a tripod for what it wants to do. Like I said, these smaller 3 or 4 leg options, they're more practical. You'll get more uses, and then the bigger two leg sections, they're going to be real good for those specialist one-off jobs, like PRS shooting or just spotting or whatever you end up doing. And then obviously one thing I didn't mention at all was they're real handy for clipping your rifle in, for shooting possums, pigs, deer, whatever, right? This is 22, obviously. But yeah, so same thing. We even use it for night shooting if we're shooting deer at night, pigs at night, and even possums. So same thing, keeps you off the ground, and yeah, something to think about.